What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. Today we're doing the Week 4 Player Props Show. We got Jesse with us. Jesse, how are we doing today, man?
Good morning. We're feeling good, man.
Feeling good, feeling good. And we're going to go over all of the Sunday props today. We're not going to cover the Sunday night and Monday night football games, but some interesting stuff going on here. I think we're still waiting for a couple players and inactives and things like that. But for the most part, I think we have everything that we need. I think the Saquon Barkley is the only one that I can really think of as far as in or out, but that's on Monday Night Football. We're going to hop right into it. And
Going to
Falcons,
London, baby.
I'm excited to wake up tomorrow and have breakfast and football on at the same time.
8:30 football. It's lovely.
Do you have any thoughts on how this game's going to go?
I got one thought. According to this game, and it's Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram day. It's Falcons are pretty bad against the tight end. They've allowed over $150 yards. Evan Ingram has eclipsed 49 or more yards every game this year, and his prop is sitting at 46.5. So it's going to be a little London special for me there.
Alrighty. I do like that. As far as touchdown odds, I mean, sure, ETN, I don't think he scored a touchdown this year. I might be wrong on that. He might have scored I don't know if he scored. So maybe he's due. Good players usually score once a month. So I think
I will note the Falcons have not yet given up a touchdown to a running back. So maybe it's one of those meeting of the universes. ETN hasn't scored. Falcons haven't given one up. It's week 4. Maybe they budge. They're actually
they give up yards.
Yeah.
But yeah, 0 touchdowns. One of a few teams to not give up any rushing touchdowns. So I'm interested in it. Bijan's never really hurt us. I think he hasn't scored a rushing touchdown yet this year. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that is interesting.
The
Jags have given up one this year. It's kind of like it's interesting how both these defenses have not caved against the run.
Yeah.
They're actually relatively okay defenses overall. Jaguars are a little more susceptible to the air, so this might be a Desmond Ridder. What can you do for me game?
Yeah.
Drake London. I mean, if there's one receiver scoring for Atlanta, it's probably London.
And the Falcons are actually like one of the teams that give up the most fantasy points to all positions here. You can see the wide receiver matchup is pretty decent. I don't know. I think the Jags offense will probably look a little bit better than what we've seen so far. So I'm interested in everything. Christian Kirk, with no Zay Jones especially, I think Christian Kirk's going to probably be in for a good game. I'm struggling. It's one of those things where you take both receivers to score. Ridley and Kirk individually, you'll probably hit one. But I do like the I don't think Evan Ingram scored a touchdown this year either. So that one's kind of fun. Any other Falcons touchdowns you're interested in besides Bijan?
It's just hard to trust Desmond Ridder,
Yeah.
When I think about London games in the past, I think like lower scoring, guys are a little bit more tired from traveling, and I think that TDs could struggle. I mean, maybe not. Maybe the Jags come out firing. I mean, they need a win. They've looked pretty poor in the last few weeks. So
passing numbers here, they're saying Ridder over 0.5. Yeah, Lawrence at 1.5 and plus 114. Like, I kind of like Lawrence to hit too. What do you think there?
Yeah, I think he could definitely get the 2 touchdowns.
Plus 114. That one's interesting. I'm just going to click on it and load it up in the queue. Otherwise, passing yards, I'm not really confident unless you had anything to say on those numbers.
No, the only thing, just the Evan Ingram. I mean, nothing from quarterbacks. Yeah, I mean, Ridder. I mean, we could probably start taking Ridder unders maybe and seeing.
I got Ridder under interceptions here just because he doesn't throw the ball very much, but I'm interested in that one. Maybe Ridder throws a pick here as they're going to. I would imagine the Jags are going to force the Falcons to not play their game. I think that's what they want. They want to get out and basically, if you can score early on the Falcons and make them uncomfortable and not get into their running ways, that's how you want to beat the Falcons. But rushing yards real quick here, Bijan 64.5. I'm not sure. That's a solid. Like, he should hit that, but minus 115. I don't know if I love it. Not sure I love any of these other rushing props. I do want to look at the receptions real quick. There's your boy Evan Ingram. People are hammering the over 4.5. So it does look like an Evan Ingram today or day. And then you have Bijan here. People are hitting Bijan over 3.5. Those are the two that people seem to be slapping the most. So let's go look at their yards real quick. Bijan, people are on his yards, but not so much on the Evan Ingram yards. If he gets 5 catches, he's going over 46.5. Yes.
Yep. I like that one a lot.
We got Gully saying, "What do you think of Ritter passing attempts?" I don't know if I'm comfortable betting on that one. He's at 28.5. People are betting the under. I don't know if they're going to get up that much to have to throw the ball. They simply do not want Ritter to throw the ball. So that's probably one I stay away from. I'm not super excited about the Falcons passing offense. But did we spend enough time on the Falcons Jags? Anything else you want to note, or is this Evan Ingram day and leave it alone?
I think I'm good with that.
All right, Washington and Philly. This one's in Philly. Philly's got almost a 10-point favorite lead here. There's going to be touchdowns in this one. They got 43 points here, so maybe 3 touchdowns for Philly, and then we'll see if the Commanders can get the 2. But who scores for the Eagles? Jalen Hurts on a tush push. AJ Brown has not scored a touchdown this year, I believe. So that one maybe.
Yeah, they really tried to get him the ball last week. Weren't able to do it. I mean, he still had a great day. So I mean, he's due. I mean, it's like a Jamar Chase, right? I think they're both due. It's like I think you just take them both as you get these elevated odds.
Yeah, I'm interested in AJ Brown. DeAndre Swift is a tough one because he's gonna need to score from a distance. If they get inside the 5, he has a chance, but if they get within the 1 or 2 yard line, it's not going to Swift. And I don't really know who else I'm comfortable taking the score here. I like the Hurts. I like the AJB. This might be one of those situations where you tap the AJ Brown and the Devonta Smith separately, and if one of them scores, you're going to profit. And if both hit, which they can both hit, that's where it's going to be a little bit more fun. If the Commanders are to score 1 touchdown, who scores it?
I mean, can we trust B-Rob against this? This doesn't feel to me like a Brian Robinson game. I think they're probably going to have to use a little bit more Gibson like they did last week against the Bills being down. He's been very efficient though, so if they get anywhere near the goal line, he's probably fine in the end zone.
He played well against the Eagles last year. 26 attempts, 86 rushing yards for a pretty bad average, but he did get the touchdown here. One of only 3 of his touchdowns last year. So it's okay. It's probably not the best game script for Brian Robinson, but if you had to take one of those guys, that's probably him. I would imagine Howell's going to have to air it out in this one. So
that's what I'm thinking.
If you're feeling dirty, you can take a Terry McLaurin touchdown separately with a Dotson touchdown. That might be kind of fun. Terry or Dotson, one of those guys needs to score. I don't think Dotson scored this year. Terry's got the 1, but that's if you're feeling extra dirty. Let's take a peek here at the passing numbers. Just Chase says, quick thoughts on Kyle Pitts tomorrow. We didn't really talk about Kyle Pitts much.
I do like Kyle Pitts. I mean, I do like the situation for Kyle Pitts. I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like Johnny Smith is step for step in him with targets, so it's just really hard to trust right now.
The Jags are they gave up tight end points here. They gave up almost 14 points per game, but right now that's it's almost a 50-50 split for tight end production with Jonnu Smith. So we're thinking 7 to 8 points for Kyle Pitts is probably his decent floor this week. It's just we need Ritter to finally hit him on a deep shot to get the big play down. But passing touchdowns, I think it could be a Jalen Hurts over 2 passing touchdowns day. It seems like each week the Eagles offense is getting a little bit better at kind of what we thought they were going to be this year, especially last year with just how much they aired it out and had success throwing the ball. Maybe we see Hurts have some success throwing it. I'm not really sure if I want to take Howell's numbers here. I do want to look at the Howell interception, minus 190 to throw one.
Made through 4 last week, so I think it's just a continuation. They're going to need to throw the ball.
Yeah, let's take a peek here at the rushing receiving numbers. You got Gibson, which we don't trust. B-Rob at 51.5. He's going to need 15 carries to do it. I just don't know if the game script allows it. Any rushing numbers stick out? Do you like Swift's number?
Yeah, I mean Swift is the hot hand right now, so that's just a continuation of, do you think he's going to keep getting the ball like he has been? I mean, the Commanders are okay against the run. They're right in the middle of the pack, 242 yards. So, I mean, it's probably a pretty good number.
He's gonna need another 50. Swift needs 15 carries, I think, to hit that. You times that by 4, it gets you right to 60. He's usually in that 4 to 5 yards per carry. So probably on line for him. Sam Howell's going to be running for his life. Maybe he gets over the 12.5. I don't know if you're comfortable taking it. Again, the habit that I like to get into is looking at the receptions first because that kind of paints the picture. They got A.J. Brown heavy under 5.5. They have Gibson under 2.5, kind of heavy. Brian Robinson Jr. under. They are liking Goddard a little bit to go over 3.5, and they're really liking Devonta Smith. So this might be a Devonta Smith day, minus 140 to go over 4.5 receptions. Nothing really else anything else stick out here on the receptions total for you?
Yeah, I mean, they're not really tapping anybody on Washington to hit their over, which, you have to think in a game where it's going to be pass heavy, you might be able to take advantage of maybe a Dotson gets 4 grabs or Terry, 4.5. I like to think one of those two is probably hitting.
Yeah.
It's just a game where, you look at the strip last week, and Howell's not going to be as bad as he was last week against the Bills. The Bills are elite against QBs. Well, the Eagles are good. They're not quite at the level of the Bills, in my opinion.
Yeah, so Devonta was getting smashed with his over. So if you give him 5 catches, he's probably going to haul one in to get it over 60. So I think that one sticks out for the yardage props. A.J. Brown's he's propped up pretty high at 73.5. Goddard, he's due for one of these games if you want to tap that. But I think the Devonta Smith one, people were taking the over on Smith at 4.5 receptions. So that one sticks out. Anything else you like here in this one?
Yeah, I think Devonta it almost seems like it's a classic, like kind of what it was last year. A.J. Brown, Devonta, they're kind of going back and forth. It's kind of like, you look at the matchups, see how it plays out.
And I know the Commanders took a first round rookie corner, and he's good, but Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown are pretty good. So Devonta Smith, 8 for 169 and a touchdown week 3 at Washington. Later in the year, 6 for 39 and a touchdown. So he scored in both games last year. That's something I think it could be a Devonta Smith game. Maybe he plays up to Washington. So I think that's pretty much it for this game. Any final thoughts on Washington at Eagles?
No, I like to hope for a Howell bounce back after last week. That was pretty brutal for him.
Yeah, he needs to just wipe that one away, and they need to protect him better. I know he's kind of skittish behind the line, but they need to protect him a little bit better. Baltimore at Cleveland, we're still waiting to see if Watson's going to play. I would say he's probably playing, but for the most part here, low-scoring game, 39 total implied here. Like, if you had to pick touchdowns for this game, I think it's Jerome Ford for the Browns, maybe Amari Cooper, and then who scores for the Ravens?
Yeah, I mean, this is not a great setup for Baltimore. So, I mean, the guy that, when I was looking at this game, that I really kind of stuck out as a guy who maybe not his touchdown, but Nelson Aguilar. In the 2 games he's played, he's tapped 4 and 5 catches. His receptions are sitting at 2.5. So I kind of like that. I mean, we have no Odell, no Bateman. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely elite against the tight end. So Andrews is probably struggling. So, like, where does the ball go? It probably is a lot of dump offs to Zay, and it's probably trying to hit Nelson Aguilar to move the chains.
And I think the Browns, let's see where the Browns are. I think they're really bad against they're the best team against the opponent wide receivers, but teams can't run on them. Teams can't do much on them. But I think Aguilar is a sneaky play because it seems like Lamar trusts him. So that one's kind of fun. It might be a Mark Andrews day. It could be a Lamar Jackson running the football day. I think Gus Edwards is cleared to play from his concussion. Honestly, I'm struggling to have any interest in this one from a betting perspective. I just think it's going to be one of those 20 to 16. Like, it's going to be 16, 13. It's going to be kind of ugly. So touchdowns, maybe not the best one to look at here. Maybe we look at the passing props real quick. They don't have Deshaun in there quite yet. People are obviously taking the Lamar over 1. Lamar interceptions, always a fellowship favorite. 0.5, yeah, slap it at minus 110. I don't hate it. And again, just there's nothing in here because there's nothing in here from the Browns perspective. So,
but I mean, the Aguilar numbers, man. I'm interested in these Aguilar numbers. 24.5 yards.
And 2.5. So
2.5.
And people are smacking the under. I
know, man. He's played in the 2 games he's played. He's got. I think he's got 5 targets and 6 targets. He's caught 4 balls and 5 balls. I mean, no Odell, no Bateman. It just seems like he's their number 2 this week. I mean, everyone's slapping the Mark Andrews over. I mean, obviously I get it, but the Browns, man, they're just, I mean, Delpit, they're elite against the tight end.
Quick question here: are you starting Stroud or Lamar?
Oh man,
I'm gonna lean Lamar from the rushing perspective. Um, it's not an easy matchup for CJ Stroud. Like the offensive line
yeah,
for Houston's not good, and they're playing up they're playing up against the defensive player of the month in
hmm
Watt. So I'm probably gonna lean Lamar
I think I agree.
in
It's
that
two,
one.
it's two elite defenses, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
two ifs, two
Trust the
AFC
Fulker.
North defenses.
Lamar got loose last weekend. He got some running, he got some touchdowns. Maybe this is just your vintage Lamar game where it's all him. But we're going to talk about the Dolphins and Bills. I think for the longest part of the games today. This is the one you want to put touchdown props in. 53.5 total implied in this one. That's the by far the most I think of the week by a full touchdown. You got to probably like Stephon Diggs. You got to like Tyreek Hill. Raheem Mostert at minus 135 does intrigue me as well. But outside of those top three guys, are you feeling anybody here to score touchdowns?
I think Josh Allen gets in there, 125, and he's their running back. And the Dolphins do give up points to running backs. I just don't trust James Cook to get the ball
Yeah.
when it comes, it's like the Eagles with DeAndre Swift. You just can't trust it. And then they bring in Latavius Murray. They bring in like Damian Harris from like the 20 to the 10, and then they bring in Latavius Murray from the 10 to the goal line. And so it's either going to Murray or Allen gets in there.
I think Gabe Davis has scored touchdowns in back-to-back games. Does he keep it rolling?
Yeah, he's definitely got the potential. I mean, the only thing that makes me nervous, obviously, the target share is not amazing. He's not
Yeah.
getting a high amount of targets, but he's getting the targets, I guess, where you want to get them if you're scoring touchdowns. This is what's gonna be interesting for this game is like, do the Dolphins stick with riding Mostert in a close game, or do they split it with A-Chain? Does A-Chain get some looks?
So Josh Allen's had he had two of his best games last year against the Dolphins. He threw for 304 and 4 touchdowns, 77 rushing yards last year against them, and just that was in Buffalo. At Miami, he still threw for 400, 2 touchdowns and 47 yards. So this is Josh Allen likes this matchup. So I like the rushing touchdown call. I do think you probably got to take Stephon Diggs to score at minus 115. I think that's not necessarily a layup, but it's like a free throw, as long as Giannis isn't shooting that free throw, it's probably going in. So, what about Jalen Waddle
Okay.
here? Waddle hasn't scored a touchdown yet, I believe, this year. He's back from concussions. I know the safety's missing for the Bills, Jordan Poyer. A lot of attention is going to be put towards Tyreek, and you got Mostert. Could this be Jalen Waddle hot penguin action in Buffalo?
I mean, yeah, definitely. You can't count any of these skill players out from Miami. Waddle, I'm sure Waddle, after seeing what his team did last week, is going to be a little bit extra fired up to get out there and, make it known that, he's still a pretty valuable part of this team.
Where are you at with Devon Achane? Are you I don't know if you have him in any fantasy leagues. Are you starting him? I've been struggling to tell people what to do with him because I need to see it one more time in a game where it's not 70-20. And I think this is the perfect game to sit back and just see what he can do and what his workload is.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one because I mean, you're playing the Bills. I mean, this is one of the premier teams in the NFL. You want to have your trust guys that you trust out there. You want to have your playmakers out there. So it's what kind of split do we see here? Does A-Chain get valuable touches, or is he going to get touches? Just a couple maybe try and hit home run plays with them, and then Mostert comes in for the rest. So if I don't have this, if I have better options, I'm. It depends on who you're starting. I'm starting Mostert. In all leagues, I have Mostert, but A-Chain's probably my third guy.
So
in my league.
Achane or Jalen Warren?
I'd probably take a flyer on A-Chain on that one.
So that he's probably in that RB 24 to 30 range where you're considering him as a flex pretty much.
Yeah.
But passing props here, Gully says Josh Allen over 23.5 completions. Again, looking at the numbers last year, he completed 25 at home, and then he also completed 42 of 63 passing attempts. And that wild, they only scored 19 points in that loss, and they threw it 63 times. So
that's crazy.
Something to note there. Both quarterbacks over 2 touchdowns. I think that's fine. You know what? That could be a fun little like. Can you prop those together and try and see what kind of odds that gets?
You could do like a
Maybe,
single game parlay.
yeah. Passing yardage. Buffalo's just so good defensively, but without Poyer, I think both of these are in play. I don't know if I love them more than the other though. I do want to look down
Yeah.
here. Josh Allen pass plus rush 309.5. Does that intrigue you?
That's a pretty nice number.
Probably. I think I'd rather do that than some of the other Josh Allen props that I think we've seen. There's your so at minus 130 gullies. I don't know if I love it. I think there's probably juicier numbers for us to take advantage of. Both QBs projected to score or to pass around 35 times. The interceptions, both quarterbacks throwing a pick in this one.
Yeah, I think we're expecting some volume on this one.
Yeah, so maybe the passing attempts at minus 110, I think I might prefer that than the 23 and a half over completions. Otherwise, I love when I do SGPs, I like doing the alternate yards. I'll take 225 and put it with Tua at 225 and kind of add some other low hanging fruit alternates. Rushing numbers, Josh Allen, 35 and a half.
That's a good number.
Yep. Raheem Mostert, 50 and a half, probably. And then again, Achane, don't really know what to expect. People are smashing the over. James Cook, 58 and a half. That one.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
A slight pause. I kind of like the under.
Oh, interesting.
Kind of like
Maybe just more of a pass heavy script against the Miami Dolphins.
For James Cook to hit 60 yards, he needs 14 to 15 carries. That puts him right at 4 yards per carry. He's traditionally a 4.5 to 5 yards per carry guy. So for him to hit it, he needs 13, 14, 15 carries. So I don't know. It just seems a little bit weird that one's getting smashed over. Let's look at the receptions real quick. Here are your receptions. People are hitting the Kincaid over, so we'll be interested in his over yards. People also hitting the James Cook. I'd rather take the James Cook, I think, reception or receiving yards total. Stephon Diggs over 6.5 getting smashed.
Wow, that's big.
Anything stick out here? Like both Diggs. This is a big Diggs and Tyreek game. I think both guys are going to duel.
Yeah, it's going to be. I hope so. I mean, when I woke up and first, kind of just was reviewing everything. Just the way that these defenses are playing. I mean, I'm like nervous that it's going to be like one of those letdown games, but it's a divisional game. It's a nooner. But I hope it's a fun one. I hope we get some good action here. But I mean, over 6.5 on Tyreek and Stephon that's where the money's at. I mean,
let's look at the yards because that kind of tells us a better story, I think. James Cook, if people are smashing the James Cook over 2.5 receptions, he's probably going to hit the 18.5. You have people are hitting the Diggs and Tyreek over 6.5, but they're not really smashing the yards. So that might be the one to take advantage of here. I think that like Diggs 81.5, that looks really attractive, and you're getting it at a cheaper discount than the Tyreek Hill one, and it's 6 yards less. So I think that one makes sense to me. Waddle is aggressive here. What was Waddle's receptions at?
It's 4.5 minus 110, so they weren't really.
So I would hit this. I would hit the right.
Yeah. Grab 5 catches.
We take the Waddle 5 catches over his yards. Gabe Davis, maybe he can do it on one play. We've seen it. Otherwise, people were hitting that Kincaid number pretty aggressively. I think minus 130. I don't know if there's any juice to squeeze out of that. Anything you like here in the reception or receiving yards totals?
Yeah, I mean, those Cook numbers look relatively attractive. I mean, I think the Diggs one makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think this is just going to be a high pass volume, and hopefully the points come with it. But I think the yards are definitely going to be there. So, you said Gabe on one play. I mean, Mostert's probably not catching a ton of passes, but it's a pretty low number. He can do that on one screen.
Yeah.
I don't even think did they give us a Mostert over 2.5? So they're taking the under on that. But like, you're
getting 2.
You're getting 2, right? You tell me you get 2 catches from Mostert, he's probably hitting 13.5 yards.
And if people are destroying Gabe under 3.5, if he gets 3 catches though, like he's hitting 41.5, like. So maybe there's a little juice there in the Gabe Davis. People are slightly liking the 41.5, so maybe Gabe Davis here. Otherwise, I don't really feel great about the tight ends, Kincaid, Knox, and Smythe. I want to see more out of Kincaid yet, but maybe this is the game where he gets a little bit loose here. Does anybody like stink aggressively against the tight ends here? You got Miami allowing 14.3 points to the tight end. We know Buffalo's really good. They rank pretty low here, but we're not interested in Durham Smythe. So maybe there's some Kincaid and Knox opportunity here.
Mm-hmm. It's just tough to know. I mean, anytime there's split tight ends, you're always like, it's kind of a coin flip on who's going to get the love. But if you think about it, like more pass heavy scripts, probably more Kincaid.
Yeah.
25.5, not terrible.
Get your touchdown bets in this one, guys. We have about 20 minutes left in the show, Jesse. We'll kind of start to pick up the pace on some of these. Saints and Bucks. Tell me what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, this is Derek Carr is somewhat banged up, so that makes me kind of nervous apparently he's looked good throwing the ball. I mean, one crunch and he's out for the game, so I'm a little bit hesitant on New Orleans in general. I kind of think maybe the Bucks surprise and win this game. I think they've just been playing really well. I think we're gonna like watching the Mike Evans, Marshawn Lattimore show. Can't really bet Mike Evans though. Lattimore has his number if I recall, but those guys like to go back and forth. So maybe this is finally where Godwin gets his, because I don't think Godwin scored yet this year. Evans has kind of been the guy.
Evans has got 3 touchdowns, 1 in each game. Godwin,
he's got the yard. Like his yards are fine. Like he's fine. It's just, I mean, this is the AK's back. So there's really, it's not, as you can tell. I mean, it's all plus odds. So it's like Vegas doesn't really know where the TDs are coming from.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure this is going to be a high scoring game.
Well, maybe. So they don't have Winston or Carr in here yet. They're saying Baker's going to throw 1. So maybe this is one of those situations where you take the Mike Evans touchdown separately and you take the Godwin touchdown separately, whatever your unit is. I'm just putting $10 in here. If one of them scores, you're making money. If both scores, you're going to Applebee's after. So something to think about. From the Saints perspective, Winston revenge game. I think it's there. Maybe Olave has not scored a touchdown yet. He's getting elite usage. Winston kind of locks on to players sometimes. Wouldn't be opposed to that, but I'm probably going to want to hold on this one. Not only do we have a new quarterback entering, we do not trust Winston, and you also have Alvin Kamara coming back. So we kind of want to see what this offense looks like. I think rushing.
There's nothing that's
rushing receiving numbers. You mentioned liking Godwin. Let's look at his receptions real quick. Godwin at 5.5. People are taking the under. I don't know. I'm not this one. This one's not really. I'm excited for the Kamara return, but from a fantasy standpoint and a betting standpoint, I kind of want to stay away.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that super excites me. I mean, Bucks. I mean, if you're looking at like defensively, what are these teams bad at? Bucks, they give up points to the receivers. So I mean, Olave is always in play.
All right, here's your lock prop for the game: Rachaad White under 51.5. Lock it.
I mean, he's gonna need 19 carries to get that against the Saints defense.
He can maybe hit it with
17.
I think, but for him to get up to that volume in a game where they're going to be just dinging him for 2.8 yards per carry, probably we'll pass here. But let's move on to the game of the day: Vikings at Carolina Panthers. Who wins, and how many points for Justin Jefferson?
I mean, this is scary territory for the Vikings if they don't win this game. I mean, JJ is wide receiver 2 with no touchdowns on the year. One touchdown. Yeah, he scored last week finally. So I mean, the guy's amazing.
Minus 115. You gotta take it. He's one of the best players in the game, and he's playing so well. But he's wide receiver 3, and it's like we don't really appreciate how well he's playing so far. But after JJ, I mean, Addison's kind of a fun one at plus 185. He's been pretty hot. I can see Hawkinson scoring here. The Vikings, probably 2 touchdowns for sure, if not 3 in this one.
Mm-hmm.
You can load up on Vikings. Honestly, Hawkinson, Addison, Not really trusting Madison. I don't want to recommend the minus 105. I want to see what they do with Cam Akers. With Bryce Young, though, at QB, are you liking any Panthers to score?
Yes, I was going to say is Young coming back into this. It's like how's he going to look? Vikings defense is actually pretty bad, but
Yeah.
I actually like so Miles Sanders has kind of been dealing with some sort of nagging injury, so the Chuba Hubbard number is not terrible. If I look at the Vikings, actually, if anything, they're okay against running backs. Like
Yeah.
you can tap the receivers and the quarterback. I mean, these have generally been high scoring games. It's just you got a rookie quarterback coming back off an injury. It's like I was gonna say the revenge narrative is always
Yeah.
in play, right?
Overall,
You just don't love it though, right?
I'm not. If Andy Dalton was the quarterback, I think we'd be interested in some of these props.
Yeah.
People are smashing the under Bryce Young 1.5 touchdowns. People are hitting the over Kirk Cousins. So if Kirk Cousins throws 2, take the JJ touchdown. Honestly, take JJ, take Hawkinson, take Addison. 2 of those guys will score tomorrow. Okay, seems pretty simple to me. Do you like a Bryce Young interception at minus 120?
It seems like a pretty nice number. I guess the question will be is if they're going to try and limit his volume.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's going to be a Miles Sanders day. And
If
I
he's
know
not,
he's
is he even healthy? Is he even
coming in with a groin. So I noticed you mentioned Chuba earlier, but they don't have anything in here because of that for those guys. Let's just see if the receptions come in real quick. They got JJ getting destroyed.
Jesus.
Oh my goodness. Adam Thielen at 4.5. It's even pretty much here. People are taking the over on Madison 2.5. Would you take that under?
Yeah, I mean it's a pure
That's weird.
volume. I mean it's pure volume play, and it's like this is Akers' first game, so I don't think we're gonna get a ton of Akers, but it's like we could start seeing the beginning of the end for Alexander Madison. So it's just not a guy I like to click.
Hayden Hurst, man, we'll have to look at his yards because that one's aggressive.
Yeah.
They are also under 3.5 for Jordan Addison. What do you like? Do you like the over 3.5 for Addison here? As each week he's caught Osborne in terms of snaps, and he easily out targets Osborne. But
People like the Osborne 2.5 over. They like the Addison under. So, but I think, like you said, I mean, the numbers trend for Addison. And so it seems like every week it's a little bit more, a little bit more. I mean, I think like if you look at these Viking weapons, like 2 of these are probably going to hit their over at least.
You got Addison at 40.5. You have JJ at 100. Hawkinson at 49.5. I saw people taking the under 5.5. So if he gets 5 for 10 yards a catch, that's puts him right at his line. I don't know if I love it either way. But people were aggressively taking that Hayden Hurst over, what was it, 2.5 here? So 3 for 25 for Hurst seems like low-hanging fruit. It's just not a very fun bet. I'm going to take the Thielen over 49.5, man. This is a game for Thielen to kind of stick it to the Vikings, I think, in a little bit here. I'm sure he's not like a revenge narrative guy, but he wants to show up against his old team. So that one makes sense. You clicking anything else in here?
No, sir.
Yeah, let's keep it moving here. We do want to get to the Chicago Bears and the Broncos real quick here. We'll be quick in this one, guys. There's gonna be some points in this one. It's gonna be fun. I think Javonte gets a first touchdown of the year for himself. I can't really recommend Sutton Judy touchdowns. I think I might like the Russell Wilson lines, but who scores in this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're in the right call. I think, Denver receivers will score. Who's going to get the touchdown? It's a little bit up in the air. Maybe it's a Marvin Mims. But I actually like this game for Khalil Herbert, and then I like you to go turn around and sell him.
Yeah.
Seems like a get right. This is an opportunity the Bears are going to be desperate to win. Yep. I think, even if you take away the Miami game for Denver, their rush defense has not been the greatest this year. And I think Herbert, he finds the end zone. I mean, Roshan could too, but I think Herbert in a positive game script here, he finds it. He puts up like 16, 17 fantasy points. It looks nice. People get optimistic and just go and trade him.
I just want to point out that the Broncos allowed 70 points last week, and they are 3.5-point favorites on the road in Chicago. What?
That's sick. It's pretty sick.
I,
Well, you
I'm
have to remember what did the Bears do against the Chiefs last week? It was
so I'm thinking your same exact narrative for Khalil Herbert. I'm going to apply that to Justin Fields. Start Fields this weekend as your QB1. He's going to probably put up fantasy points. I think he's going to go over 20 fantasy points in this one. Think about selling him as people maybe consider the Bears are kind of opening back up. So maybe this might be a sell opportunity after this weekend for Fields, DJ Moore, Herbert. Just consider that. I do expect the Broncos offense to play well. I want to look at the Russell Wilson. I think I'm into this one.
yeah.
1.5 over.
That's the one I wrote down for this game.
Wilson's been playing pretty good ball. It's just their
Yep.
defense is like really, really atrociously bad. So I'm open to Wilson 1.5. I think I don't. Are we putting that on the list this week?
It seems like a nice number. Yeah, I mean, all his numbers look pretty deflated. 241 passing yards seems like a pretty reasonable clip too.
Yeah.
He's been pretty solid, and I think people are underestimating him. He could be a sneaky DFS play for me as well this week.
People are taking the Fields over interception. Do you like a Russell Wilson interception? People are hitting the under here. Don't know if I feel it, but
Against the Bears, I just don't trust the Bears to do anything for me.
You see the Chase Claypool thing this morning?
Yeah, they're not using me right. Chase, buddy.
Maybe Javon. Like I honestly don't want to put many props into this game.
I mean, Herbert 40.5 rushing yards again. I think that seems like a pretty good line.
Aggressively on the Roshan here.
Yeah, I mean, I got to start him in a league. I just hope he can stumble and bumble around against a bad defense.
Real quick receptions. People are smashing the Claypool and the Troutman and the Komet.
Interesting.
I don't know. Nothing really sticking out here to me. I think we spent enough time on this one, man. It's Broncos, it's Bears. Unfortunately, I think like pretty much 90% of the United States is getting this game on TV at noon. So like we're gonna be like eyes peeled, like watch it,
Thank you, Lord, for Red Zone.
Yeah. Bengals, Titans. I don't feel comfortable with any Titans. I think they ruled out Traylon Burks already. It's Jamar Chase week, boys. Plus 120. Jamar Chase scores. Who else scores?
Please, Jamar Chase, find the end zone for us. On the other side of the ball, I do like Chig this week. I think could be the Chig week.
Maybe not for a touchdown, but we'll look at his.
Yeah, I mean, it's 390, right? It's tough, but I mean, if I'm thinking about this game, the Bengals, if Joey B is a 1 week healthier, this is a game where the Bengals should be able to control the narrative, and then the Titans are going to have to try and pound it with Henry. He hasn't looked great this year. So no Burks. Hopkins is kind of banged up a little bit and just hasn't looked great. So, yeah, kind of like the Chig.
Henry at minus 130, I'm fine with it. Titans' run defense is so good, but Joe Mixon, I mean, if they get it on the 2-yard line, I'm sure they could punch it in with Mixon. But I did highlight Joe Burrow over 1.5 passing touchdowns at minus 115. If he throws 2, Chase is catching 1. And Higgins so far has two bust games, 1 boom game. Maybe he booms in this one. I don't really. Both defenses are pretty good, and the Titans are like they're a funnel defense. You want to throw on this defense, so that's why we're liking Okonkwo. But I do think Jamar Chase 83.5 is in play. T Higgins with a low 57.5 is in play. We're not touching the rushing numbers here. I think.
No, I don't. I'm not touching. No rushing numbers.
Reception totals real quick. People are hammering the Chase. They're hammering the Henry. And the Higgins looks like aggressive here. So I think this is what we're going to get, what we bought in fantasy from Higgins, Burrow, Chase this weekend. I think this is just kind of on track and on schedule for the Bengals passing offense. But Okonkwo, people are taking the under 3.5. I'm sure if it was 2.5, we'd be all up in it. But he's their number 2 target in this game. Maybe he gets a lot of nickel and diming targets here. So 31.5 makes sense. Any other final thoughts on this game?
No, not really. I mean, Tyjae Spears' numbers are pretty low. If this game does get out of hand, I think we could, if the narrative there, we believe in the narrative. Let's say Bengals get up 17, 7 first half. It could be a little bit of Tajay in the
Yeah.
back half. But otherwise, yeah, no, this is hopefully a get right game for the Bengals.
So we only got a few more minutes left for you. Did you want to pick the game that we click into next? Rams, Colts, Steelers, Texans, Raiders, Chargers. What do you need?
Yeah, I mean, let's it's Anthony Richardson's back against the Rams. I think there's a few things we like in this game. Puka Nacua get back on track right before Cooper Cup comes. Yeah, A-Rich, I mean, he played a full slew of practice reps. Colts are, could be a contender in the AFC South. I mean, we'll see the Jags look like tomorrow morning, but really
Yeah.
it's wide open for them to win this division.
Are we labeling the Colts as a pass funnel defense? Like you want to start pass catchers against them?
I mean, I think you do, yes. And I mean, they're okay against the running back, but they really do.
Yeah.
I mean, quarterbacks. It's just that the secondary is just really, really poor. They've already dealt a couple of injuries. They got a few rookies back there, so I think Puka is a really good play. I think Tutu is a really good play this week.
Yeah.
You got to fire those guys up. This could actually be a
high scoring game.
Like, this could be a fun game.
Like Matthew Stafford in DraftKings tomorrow, sign me up.
Yeah.
I did see something where the Colts' primary defense, I believe, is zone, and that's where Puka eats. Like Puka is a zone. He just sits in zones. So that does favor, I think, Puka in this one. He hasn't scored a touchdown yet. Tutu has scored a touchdown. Again, after 4 games, a player should probably score that has that many targets for Puka. So I think a touchdown's coming there. But I also do like the Atwell one. Atwell looked really good the other night. Like I thought he
really good.
Like we were all kind of wrong about him when he came out. He's very small, but
year 3.
He looks like a player that can stick around. We're not taking a Richardson receiver, but if it was one, it's Pittman. And then I did notice Higbee's on the injury report, so we have to watch for that. That might make me even lean more into Puka and Tutu if you're feeling those ones. Did you want to look at the rushing numbers real quick, or let me see Stafford's real quick? Stafford 1.5 passing touchdowns, -110. Are you interested there?
Yeah, it could be a good. It could be a nice click.
Any other? Well, we want to look at the rushing numbers, I think, for A-Rich. 47.5. Do you think he's a little bit more hesitant with the concussion from the last week?
First week back, do you think they kind of just played a little bit more cautious, or do you think they're like, all right, well, you're ready to go. Let's get out there. I think it could be a little bit more caution. I mean, depends, I think, how the game goes, really.
We did get a nice little super chat in here from Carrie G. We're benching Ridley for Atwell and Tank at receiver. Good call or no? I benched Ridley for Atwell and Tank. So interesting. So Atwell and Tank in. Are you interested in getting Ridley in over any of those guys, Jesse?
Atwell's a play for me. I think I might stick Ridley over Tank, though.
Okay.
Against the Steelers, I think Houston could have a little bit of reality check. So I think it would go Atwell 1, Ridley 2, Tank 3. What are your thoughts?
I think we're ranking Tutu Atwell over Calvin Ridley right now. This is crazy times. We are in crazy times right now. But I think Atwell is the play. This game's gonna be like, I can see this game going to overtime tomorrow. Like I think if you're interested in like betting like the popular over, like I'm taking 46 over here. I think this game, both teams run fast. They both run a lot of plays. So Atwell, I think, is the guy that we're starting for sure. To be honest, I think Ridley and Tank, it's kind of like a coin flip. I think if you have a gut feeling and you want to play Tank, I'm not opposed to it. Ridley's been pretty disappointing for 2 straight games, and Christian Kirk has actually looked like the better player the last 2 games. So for me, Atwell is a yes, but I'm going to recommend, like, trust your gut. Like, if you think Tank's the guy, and Steelers pass rush is pretty legit. So we could see CJ Stroud in the Titans or the Texans struggle tomorrow, but either way, I think we got to go Atwell, Ridley, Tank. It feels too premature to sit Calvin Ridley yet, but man, if Ridley duds this weekend again, and P.S. this is a Calvin Ridley revenge game. We didn't even talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
The Falcons, man. So I'm gonna go Atwell, Ridley, Tank. Thank you, Carrie.
Yes, thank you, Carrie.
I'm excited for this Colts Rams game though. I think you want numbers, you want props, you want touchdowns, you want. Did we look at the receptions real quick? What's our boy Puka at? 6.5. People are smashing the under. 2-2. People are hitting the under. Did you like any of the reception totals here?
Yeah, I mean, so Puka with the 6.5. I mean, you're essentially treating him like Tyreek, a Stephon, a Chase. I mean, against this Colts defense, it's very. I mean, it's possible. 2-2, 4.5 is another number that's like. They're probably good lines. I mean, they're really good lines. But I think if I'm taking one, it's the Puka over on that, and then 72.5 yards. I mean, look, they like 2-2 at 50.5. I mean, maybe, I think maybe this is like a convergence of like Puka and 2-2 based on last week. But I think if you look at the first 2 weeks, Puka really ate. And like you said, this is a game that he could really be the guy again. So I think I'm going to lean into the Puka numbers.
I think it's going to be one of those. Puka's probably getting double-digit targets in this one. So that's kind of where I stand. But we are at 9:45. Jesse, did you need to get out of here?
I think we can do one more.
One more. I'm going to let you pick the game then. Steelers, Texans is there. Raiders, Chargers, 49ers, Cardinals, Patriots, Cowboys. Anything?
I mean, so Raiders, Jimmy G. We're not sure what his status is.
Play your Chargers, man. Like take the Keenan touchdown. I don't like Josh Kelly, man. Just take the Keenan touchdown. 49ers take the CMC 2 touchdowns.
It's crazy stats right there. I mean, Steelers, Houston.
It's Ayuk tomorrow, right? Debo's dinged up. I like Ayuk.
Yep. Ayuk day.
Cowboys is tough. I think you take the Tony Pollard. You taking a Najee TD tomorrow?
I think he's gonna get his touchdown tomorrow.
He's gonna get one.
Yeah, he's gonna. What are his odds? How he's got to be like -150, -130. It might be like even money. I mean, +100.
Come on,
make us earn it. They're making us earn it.
+110, man. Probably.
He's probably falling in, right?
Probably.
Is Damian Pierce gonna score?
You do the thing that we do with receivers. You take the Najee touchdown. You take the Warren touchdown. Whether it's running or receiving, one of them's got to score tomorrow. One of them has to. Otherwise, like, we're gonna burn the Steelers down. So that's kind of where we stay. But any final thoughts for tomorrow, Jesse? I'm excited. It's week 4. We do have a good glimpse at everybody. Chiefs, take your Travis Kelce touchdown. I did see that in the comments. It's always got to put Kelce touchdown on the card.
Always.
But any final thoughts for tomorrow? I'm just excited for these games, man.
Yeah, I think we got 3 weeks of data, so we have a little bit more to rely on how these teams are shaping up. There's a few interesting games. A couple 0-3 teams that are desperate. Time to see who the contenders and the pretenders are as we head into kind of the heart of the season. So it's always fun.
Raiders Chargers tomorrow could be ugly if no Jimmy Garoppolo. So keep an eye on like the Chargers defense. Like if no Jimmy Garoppolo, man, like Chargers defense open to it. But
Josh Kelly, are you playing him in fantasy?
Josh Kelly or Devon Achane is kind of where I'm stuck in. If Garoppolo's out, Kelly's scoring because Chargers probably by double digits. So either way, it doesn't feel good banking on a touchdown from a guy that's looked like complete garbage the last 2 weeks. So slightly concerned there. Otherwise, CeeDee Lamb scoring a touchdown tomorrow. He's 3 games without a touchdown in a game versus Bill Belichick. I think CeeDee Lamb shows up.
At home too.
It's at home, so we'll see what happens. But that's going to do it for us, guys. I'm going to start loading up some of the props to consider on the website. So we're going to enter 5 in today. Jesse, if you had to take one off the top of your head and put it in there, what one are you doing?
Russ Wilson, 2 touchdowns.
2 passing touchdowns. I think that was +100. So we like the Broncos offense tomorrow. Should be fun. But yeah, I'm gonna upload some of these picks and get those guys entered for you. I'll probably blast it on Twitter and in the Discord. But that's gonna do it for us. Jesse, enjoy. You're going pumpkin picking today?
That's our other main man,
Okay.
Mr. Drake.
Alrighty, I got the Harvest Festival to go to today, so we're gonna be hanging out with the nieces. But
Oh.
either way, enjoy the rest of your guys' Saturday. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.